This is the Transformers Generations War for Cybertron Trilogy EARTHRISE Deluxe Class Arcee. And quick look at the packaging. Very nice. This is actually the figure I was most excited to do a review on. Out of all the 4 figures from Wave 2 of the EARTHRISE Deluxes, let's get her out of packaging. And here is Arcee out of the box. And you know what? If you can just get past this enormous backpack right here, this is actually a very, very good Arcee figure. It is an incredible sculpt. In fact, I think the robot mode itself, it is probably the best robot sculpt for Arcee that Hasbro and Takara Tomy have ever done. It's pretty accurate. I love the aesthetics. I love the color, white, pink, and gray. It has some issues, definitely, especially that backpack. But just focusing on the robot mode, I absolutely love this figure. Let's take a closer look at this sculpt for Arcee, particularly this head sculpt. It's pretty plain. It's all white and just the blue eyes. But the amount of detail they've put on this head sculpt really makes this particular sculpt dead on, spot on Arcee. If you remember how she looked in the '86 movie, it was mostly white and you get that hint of pink. And then when you see her again in season 3, there is that tinge or tint of pink in her skin tone for the face. But it's not entirely pink. It's a little bit pinkish white, I should say. Perhaps Hasbro could have put a little bit of a wash on that face, but I don't know. They could have probably ruined it. They've been consistent here and there, so they just chose to leave it black and white. I'm sure customizers can do a good job doing that. She does come with this accessory. This is probably, I think I hate this accessory more than the backpack. And it's a good sculpt. It's just they chose the wrong plastic. They should have molded it in pink or in white plastic. They had a choice of whether using the translucent plastic or white or pink. And I think they should have, I would have been happy with a white gun sculpted in that white plastic. And I don't know why they didn't do that. They had extra bits of this translucent plastic, and so they decided to just do a translucent gun. Articulation for the figure. The head is very tight. It's supposed to be a ball joint, but it's acting like a swivel joint right now because of the tightness. She's got a waist swivel. She's got ball hinge shoulders. Great range of motion. Bicep swivel. Hinge elbow that folds more than 90 degrees, maybe 100, 110 degrees. Hinge wrists. They didn't have to do this. Nothing to do with the transformation. She's got a hinge hips that go in and out, forward and backward. Thigh swivel, mostly because of transformation. Double jointed knees. I love the knees, how they can do almost a 180 degree bend. And foot articulation because of transformation. Arguably, they had to do a long heel spur just to have her standing on her own because of this huge backpack. So, okay, we're going to forgive Hasbro for that. Like I said, overall, very, very pleased with this robot sculpt. And here she is with the IDW Generations Arcee. And initially, when I saw pictures of the EARTHRISE Arcee on online and all those photoshopped images, I immediately thought, there's no way she's beating the IDW Arcee, because I really love this IDW Arcee, and this is probably the quintessential one. But looking at them now together, and I kid you not, this is a much better sculpt, robot sculpt, than this figure. As you can see, the proportions are better. Even the chest. The chest for this one is part of the transformation, so okay, they had to do that. There was no compromise about that. But given the sculpt, we're talking about the sculpt with robot mode, this one beats this one by a mile. Even the proportions of the hips, the way the torso and the arms fold down, the silhouette of the robot mode, the size of the head compared to the parts of the body. This is the clear winner. I absolutely love it over this one. In terms of the pink and white color combination, this one beats this one. I love the matte finish on this one, the glossy finish on this one. Amazingly makes it look cheaper than this one. Okay, now arguably the backpack on this one is less obnoxious and it's less obtrusive than this one. That's given. I believe that's something Hasbro could not avoid with this figure. Looking at the backpacks, in some way, I believe the design team of this figure could have borrowed some inspiration from how this backpack was developed, and as such that the shell forming part could just be the front part of the car, whereas the rear part of the car could have been introduced as part of the hips, or compressed more closely to the backpack. But alas, they decided to just, do a remold, and probably this is the easier way to do it than this one. But nevertheless, just the robot mold alone, I believe this is the better figure. Now, to reduce the backpack eyesore by a bit, Arcee has another gimmick or accessory, and it's that hoverboard accessory. And you unpeg that backpack, and right here there's a latch, there's a spring-loaded latch. Press on that, and then you can actually remove this white piece right here, and this one just slides in. Okay, and this is supposed to be the hoverboard. Go ahead and rotate it this way. Press it like that. Don't push it all the way because it's very difficult to pull it back out. So we're just going to leave it like that. Okay, and then these flaps form the rear part of the car. You're supposed to fold them out. It feels like you're going to break it. It's especially the first time you do it, it's going to be very, very tight. You're going to feel it snap like that. But just keep at it. It's going to be really tight when you first try and do it, but it's going to fold out like that. Okay, and then they fold out this way, and essentially that's the hoverboard. It's got some pegs where you can put her on it, and honestly, I'm not buying this. This could just be a base or a stand, and she could just be surfing. And no, it looks okay, it's pretty decent, but this is probably just an add-on Hasbro did just so we'll feel good about that huge backpack. Okay, so we'll put that back right there, and then bring it back as it was. Okay, and we'll transform her into her car mode. So to do so, just put that backpack, slot it right there, right here. Okay, right there. Okay, so to transform her, the instructions can be a little bit confusing, but there is a way to do it properly so that she compresses all the way into car mode. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to do this, and then this, and then you fold these out like that, and then here you want to fold out these pieces, the front part of the car. Okay, a little tight. Okay, and then you fold her down like that. You can reach in and fold out the front grille of the car, and essentially you can already see where this is going. The whole robot section just needs to fold under in the undercarriage of the car. Let's fold these out. Okay, fold those panels out. Okay, then what you want to do is you want to swivel the head. You don't actually have to, but just so you can sort of hide the head, you want to go and swivel it all the way to the back so she's facing the back. And then this huge rivet peg right here is going to slot onto that hole in her back. Just fold it in and push it in like that, and then you're good to go. Okay. This thing just loves to pop off. Okay. And then the arms are just going to stay like this. The instructions don't say anything. They just stay by her side, just like that. Make sure you push them all the way back like that so they're not in the way. Legs, I think, are the most difficult part to transform. And it's because you have to compress every single bit of your legs here on the side of the rear part of the car. And to do so, this is the best way I know it. The instructions just tell you to rotate the thighs. Just rotate that thigh assembly 180 degrees. But for me, I think what you should do is rotate it more, like maybe 200 degrees. And you line up that end right there. Let me show that off. Right here, this bit right here, you line it up with that lightning, like it looks like a lightning bolt. The end of that lightning bolt, they should just line up together. That's how you should do it. Just rotate it a full 200 and 210 degrees. Just line it up that way, because it'll be a lot easier to fold the legs if you do it that way. Okay, like that. Okay, make sure that that end of that swivel just lines up with that lightning, sort of lightning detail. Okay, and then what you want to do is you want to fold up the feet, and you want to compress it like this. And then there's another thigh swivel right there, just a higher thigh swivel, and that's what you play around with when you're trying to fold the legs. Now your guide is really these. There's some notches and grooves right there. Those are for the kneecaps. You're going to line them up like that. Just, you know, stick them up like that. And then what you want to do is you kind of want to sort of hide the feet right there. Kind of like that. And make sure, once you've done that, make sure that they do stay on. They don't, not like this. They have to be flush like that. Okay? And that way, that ensures a very flat and great, nice compression on the legs. Let me just, okay. And this one like that. Okay, it'll require a few more times when you transform her, but really, trust me, once you've done it, it actually feels great. It's a very satisfying transformation. Just line up the panels right now, and yeah, just making sure everything's good. Okay, and she should be good. And there is Arcee in her supposed to be Earth mode, Car mode, Alt mode. And the gun? The only place I know to store it is here. And I thought there's this peg right here. This peg apparently has no use whatsoever. I thought you were going to peg it like that so it's less conspicuous. But the only way I see hiding this gun is using that handle. And that peg is absolutely useless. I don't know why they even put it there. But there you go. So let's talk about the figure's alt mode. You can attach the Jetfire blast effects on those two pegs at the rear end of the car, and it actually looks very nice. And before filming this, I actually tried transforming this figure a couple times, and it took me 30 minutes in one transformation sequence just to get everything lined up so that the figure in car mode will actually roll. Let me just get rid of this and show it off. It actually does roll nicely. There is that 1 millimeter clearance, and it is possible. It's actually very doable if you do things properly, and it will roll nicely. The alt mode kind of reminds me of a soapbox derby kind of car. It's just so boxy, and there are a lot of panels that just don't want to stay tabbed in. But, you know, even if there's a lot of gaps, it still looks like a smooth, very smooth Cybertronian hover car, and not really an Earth mode car mode, which is weird because we're already in Earthrise. I see a lot of gaps here and there. And I think the main problem that Hasbro did with this figure, they wanted it to be a shell former. It's fine. Most Arcee figures are shell formers, but I think they overdid the whole concept of the alt mode. They made it too big. Maybe they could have streamlined it, reduced the amount of panels, maybe shrunk the front part and rear part just a little bit so that it's more of a concise, it's more of a tighter compression. And because they did so many panels, there's a lot of gaps everywhere, here and there. And it's just like it's the robot mode underneath that whole shell of a car. It's really not the best way to do a shell former. Now here he is with the IDW Generations Arcee, and if you look at it, this engineering of this figure, they've incorporated a lot of the robot parts into the car, like the legs and the hips. They turned it into part of the car so that the actual shell pieces, the shell forming pieces are just reduced to like this front part, whereas the midsection and the back part are actually parts of the robot. I think that is something they could have done with this one without necessarily just copying and reissuing this mold. And if you look at this car is kind of something you'd find maybe in the 50s or the 60s. It's like a space age, Earth-based car mode, more than this. Arguably, this could work as an Earth mode car mode, especially with the covers on the wheels. But I think this one did it better. And if you ask me, I don't think Hasbro should have reinvented the wheel. They already had a very strong mold with this IDW Arcee, and the transformation in this one was tight, but I thought it was more sound than this one. And I think they should have just improved on this mold rather than changing the whole mold altogether. Just for scale reference, here is Arcee with her better half Springer. And so some final thoughts on the EARTHRISE Arcee figure. I honestly believe if you can just get past that backpack, this is the best Arcee, at least in robot mode, that Hasbro and Takara Tomy have done. Sure, the alt mode can be improved, transformation can be severely improved, but after all that's said and done, aesthetic-wise, and in robot mode, since most of us actually know Arcee in her robot mode more than in alt mode, I think this is a great figure. And I strongly believe it is the best Arcee figure we have so far in terms of the G1 styled Generations Arcee. So there you go, folks. I hope you've enjoyed my video review of the EARTHRISE Arcee. Let me know in the comment section, what do you think about these figures? Do you feel strongly against or for this figure? Let me know in the comment section below, and as always, hit that notification bell so you never miss out on any of my latest video reviews. If it's your first time here, please subscribe. And if you want to help me do more of these video reviews, please check out my Patreon account. The minimum requirement is $3. $3 will go a long way in helping me do more videos for you on YouTube. And eventually, I'll be putting some exclusive videos that are only going to be on Patreon. Thanks for all the support, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.